Greetings, pet lovers. Bridget here with First Street Pets. I have some bad news to share with you. My website was hacked. So ironically, I just finished making a video and writing an article on how to create a website for your pet business, including all the ins and outs and security. All the while, my own website, First Street Pets, was being hacked. So I want to share that experience with you, why I think that happened, and steps that you can take to prevent that from happening to you. So this all started maybe 3 weeks ago or so when I got an email from GoDaddy, which is the company I use for my website, domain name, and all that. They notified me that there had been a security breach and that I would have to log in and change my password. So I went ahead and did that, had a look around, and I could see that someone had been trying to log into my account and that there were multiple entries of failed logins. So someone must have been using some kind of a bot that maybe randomly generates passwords. I'm not really sure how this works, but at some point after hundreds of attempts to get in, they had gotten into my website. Now, what does that mean? So when I type in an exact URL for the page, it goes to that page. For example, the article on the history of dog food, it goes to that page, no problem. However, if you follow a link, it goes to another page for ED meds. So I was horrified to find this out, and I started searching my site on Google, and that was exactly what I saw, was that it would show First Street Pets or the name of the article, but the text under it about what the article's supposed to be about was all this stuff about online pharmacy and cheapest meds. And so this was all new to me. I wasn't really sure what to do. So I waited a few days because I know GoDaddy had indicated that they had removed the malware from the site. So I thought it may just take a little longer for Google to re-index the site. But a couple weeks later, it was still looking that way. And my analytics were way down. I was getting about half as many hits as I normally do, because obviously when someone searches about dog collars, they're not looking for ED meds. So I'm sure when they saw that in the Google results, they weren't going to click on it because they're not looking for spam. They're looking for the information that I'm providing. So I called GoDaddy and I had great customer service from them. Some people don't like GoDaddy. I don't know why. I've never had anything but great customer service from them. And as always, I called, I got a live person. It was someone in America. Sometimes the foreign call centers can be really challenging. Like I had an issue with my cell phone. I was getting billed for someone else's phone and I got someone in another country. They couldn't understand what I was saying. I couldn't understand what they were saying. And I actually just ended up closing my account because I couldn't get the issue resolved with them. So good customer service, someone who is local, the GoDaddy's in Arizona. And so we had a conversation over the phone and he explained to me why this happened. So I'm going to share what he told me. These are some tips for you if you are creating your website or you've had one for a while. These are things you can do to hopefully prevent this from happening to you. So number one, if you're using the basic WYSIWYG site like I talked about in my other video, like GoDaddy or Wix or any of those other companies that have a super basic WYSIWYG site, you just add your pictures, add your text, and hit go. Those generally, this isn't going to happen to those kinds of websites. And as it was explained to me, the reason is that it's very hands-off for the content creator. You're basically just setting it and forgetting it. You're creating your content, putting it out there for your business, and the company, whether it's GoDaddy, Wix, or whomever, takes care of that. They always update the software, they update the security, they manage all of that. That's what you're paying for. With WordPress, on the other hand, the benefit and the reason that I use that for First Street Pets is that you have a lot more ability to customize. It is recommended more for blog type websites, e-commerce websites, things like that with a lot more functionality. But it's a lot more hands-on. So it's the responsibility of the user to check regularly to see if there are unauthorized logins, to see if all of your plugins are updated. So I went in and I did that to my website. So there's all these various plugins, like if you have forms or charts, or there's a million different plugins that you can use. If you have WordPress, you'll know what I'm talking about. You have to go in and make sure that every one of those is updated to the latest version, and that you delete any that you are not using. Very important. As the guy explained to me, any plugins you have that aren't updated that could possibly have a security breach, a hacker could get to your website through any of those plugins. So super important to do that. Also important to log in and check your analytics and check your security and your logins, whatever program you're using for that. Had I checked, I would have seen that someone was trying to log in hundreds of times, but I didn't. I wasn't aware that there was a problem, and so the problem got worse, and those results ended up on Google, and I lost traffic to my site because I wasn't paying attention. So even though I may be working on my site every day, writing scripts for videos, collecting images, just brainstorming, or maybe typing stuff on my computer, I'm not necessarily logging in every day and looking at that. So that is something that you want to take a look at, if not daily, at least a couple times a week. I'm trying to think of it now, kind of like my banking. I look at my online banking almost daily and at least a few times a week because I have had fraudulent use of my card. And so the sooner you spot the problem, the faster you can address it. In the case of the bank, I called my credit union, they took the charge off, gave me a new card, no problem. But had I waited for 3 or 4 weeks, it might have been a bigger problem than it was. So super important to log in regularly and check all of those things on your website. So in conversation with the rep at GoDaddy, we discussed what some of the options were. So there were those cleanup things that I needed to do. He also suggested that I migrate my website to a different server they have that includes the SSL, which I talk about in my video, and also has a firewall, basically has a higher level of security. It cost a little more, but because this happened to me and had such a significant effect on First Street Pets, I agreed to go ahead and do that. So we are moving the website to a different server with a higher level of security. And as part of this package that I purchased, they will also make sure they combed through everything on the website. There actually was some more malware on there in the comments. Now that's another thing. I get thousands of comments and they're all spam. So I need to figure out how to disable comments. I don't get very many actual comments on the blog. People more often comment on YouTube or maybe on Facebook if I shared something on the Facebook page, but not so much. People don't comment a whole lot on blogs these days. So I just kind of want to disable that because it's nothing but spam and mostly ads for meds. That's what a lot of this stuff is. It's spammy links. So GoDaddy also has a service where they will actually reach out to Google and the other search indexes and let them know that this is a security breach and that isn't my website. The concern is that if the Google bots are indexing your pages and they keep seeing all this spam, they could actually shut you down and not have you come up in the results anymore. So that's not going to help you if you're writing a blog like I am. If you're selling products or services, you want your information to come up when people search for it. But if Google thinks you're spam, they may just remove you from the search results. So super important to make sure that that happens. That I couldn't figure out how to reach out to Google myself. So I'm happy to let GoDaddy do that through their process. So I'm working on my next video and article right now, which will be another in the Pet Sitter series. It'll be about communication in your pet sitting business and the importance of that. So I'm taking notes, writing a script for that right now. I'm going to check in on my website, make sure that the migration has gone through and that's all good to go. So takeaways from this are: be aware of how your website works. Whatever kind of app you're using, be sure to check in, to do all the security protocols like I mentioned. If you're not sure, go ahead and call your hosting company. They were happy to tell me if there's something I can do by myself that doesn't cost anything, if there's an additional service I can pay for. It's worth it if it's for your business. You want things to run well. You do not want to be hacked or attacked by spammers. So super important to do that. Keep up to date on your website. Check it in search results. Look at the pages. from like a computer or your phone. Make sure everything looks the way it's supposed to. I hope this has been helpful for you. It's still kind of a work in progress for me. Like I said, I'm going to go check now and see if those search results look normal. Let's hope that they are. But I wish you great success in your pet business. I would love to see your website. If you want to share a link to it in the comments, I'll take a look at it and comment on what I think about it. And I hope this doesn't happen to you. You can take the steps to prevent it. But if you catch it right away, you can contact the company and get it taken care of right away. Thank you for watching.